Hi, everybody. It's Amy Caroline again. Welcome back to a brand new Ghost Train video. Welcome back to my channel. So, um, um, it is time for more Ghost Train stories to let you guys put on the Travel Channel. And um uh and but anyway, it's time for more Ghost Train stories, and then after that I'm gonna do another example from haunted hotels, and and we'll go from there. Okay, so today's story is called today's story is today's story is going to be called Bill McCanion's Ghost. Anyway, Bill McCann's Ghost. Here we go. In March 1888, New York Central engineer Bill McCanion accepted a call to work a snowplow train on the railroad's Batavia to North Tonawanda branch. There had already been 2 wrecks on the branch that winter, and Bill was reluctant to take the run. An old railroad superstition said that accidents always come in groups of 3. McCanion told his fireman Fred Hunt that he had a terrible feeling that the 3rd wreck was coming, and that it was going to get him. Hunt told McCanion not to worry, that nothing would happen unless his number was up. If your number is up, Hunt went on, there's nothing you can do about it anyway. Bill McCanion's number ran out the next day. As he ran the snowplow extra down the icy, snowy tracks, the engine plunged off the rails just as Bill pulled out his watch to check the time. The engine churched into Black Ash Swamp, and McCanion died at the throttle. He was buried in the North Tonawanda graveyard. Hunt survived the wreck and continued to fire for the New York Central. 1 year after the tragedy, farmers in the Black Ash Swamp area began to report a frightening apparition, a ghost walking with the lantern, a ghost with the lantern stalking the scene of McCanion's wreck at night. Folks began to say that the phantom apparition was Bill McCanion's ghost. If you believe the locals, the phantom was busy during the next month. A man reported seeing a monster with glowing eyes swinging a lantern at the wreck scene. One train crew was delayed because they were afraid to run down the apparition as it walked the track. Another engineer ran right over the specter, only to see it disappear with only to see it disappear with a terrible scream. Most folks, though, just reported a Mistress Light glowing in the swamp. Bill McCanion's reappearance seemed to follow a regular annual pattern. The Phantom Railroader would appear every year on the anniversary of McCanion's wreck. Then make nightly appearance for a month, fading away after that until the next wreck anniversary. The stories got wilder and wilder. McCanion's ghost was said to cause shooting stars and a blood red moon. A local farmer reported that the moon-eyed lantern-carrying monster invaded his barn. Finally, Fred Hunt got a feeling about the whole thing. He's looking for his watch, the fireman claimed. Local railroaders, including Hunt himself, made inquiries in the community and found that a man had picked up the watch at the scene of the fatal wreck. The steam winder was retrieved from the ghoul. One cold March evening during McCanion's annual month of revisits to Mother Earth, Hunt and some other local railroaders placed the watch in the snow at the wreck site, right alongside the branch line rails tracks. The men then waited to see what would happen. Observers reported an eerie sight. The lantern-carrying phantom did walk the tracks that night. When it reached the watch, the ghost stopped and seemed to stoop down to pick up the steam winder. Then the timepiece arrowed into the air like a rocket, finally disappearing from sight as it shot straight up into space. Neither the ghost nor the watch was ever seen again. So this takes place back in 1888. Bill's ghost. You see him right there. Well, he still wanders the tracks. He still wanders the tracks. He still wanders and walks around the tracks. And then after that, neither the ghost nor the watch was ever seen again. So when the Ghost Train documentary is filmed on the Travel Channel, Bill McCanion's ghost has to appear, and also like it is, and also like it is, the story has to go back in time to 1888, and this takes place in New York Central. In New York Central, okay, in New York, okay. This takes place in New York, and this takes place back in 1888, okay, all right. So Bill McCanion was running the snowplow down the icy train tracks, and then the engine plunged off the rails of the tracks just as Bill pulled out his watch to check the time. The engine churched into Black Ash Swamp, and McCanyon died at the Trottle. So, and then afterwards, it says up in here, after that, his ghost started to appear down the train tracks, and so forth and so on. So anyway, that's what has to happen in the show. Now, as it is, I'm going to show you guys an example from haunted hotels, or actually, yeah. I'm going to show you an example from haunted hotels, and then you'll see what Ghost Train has to look like on the Travel Channel, okay? All right?
From Gothic Castle.
So here's haunted hotels. Please enjoy.
From Gothic castles to quaint country cottages, hotels around the world welcome visitors through their doors. And while some guests check in, not everyone checks out. Just 50 kilometers north of London in Maidstone, physical evidence of a housemaid and her terrible secret still linger at this country inn. And in an Irish castle, the moments before a child's untimely death play out for all eternity.
And said, "Did you hear that? Did you hear that?" And what we both heard was la 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 la.
Come along to a world where ghosts roam the corridors and spirits fill the night. What is fact? What is fiction? Nothing is what it seems in a haunted hotel. Spending the night in an old hotel is like stepping back in time. But priceless antiques that add charm by day cast eerie shadows by night. Perhaps it is the clouds passing over the moon, or perhaps it is something more, something that defies explanation. Perhaps that private room is not so private after all. There is a lot more to the small island of Ireland than 4 leaf clovers and pints of Guinness.
We've stories about goblins and whatever, and leprechauns. You know, it's more real than a little guy in a green suit. It's poetic, and it's not kitsch.
Ireland's mystical heritage is full of fairies and banshees, myths and legends dating back to its Celtic roots.
There's some pubs that you can go into and there's an old guy telling a story.
And today, the local pub has helped revive the art of Irish storytelling, keeping its past alive.
My father was a great storyteller, and I can remember the story of fairies and, you know, someone going onto the fairy hill and not emerging for 100 years.
And in the Midland town of Tullamore, the tales continue. But this time, instead of fairies, the topic turns to ghosts.
Every town has a place that everyone thinks is haunted, and have little kids going, "Oh, that's the haunted place, don't go in there," everyone tells you about it.
Yeah, I have heard of Charleville Castle.
Charleville Forest Castle sits just outside Tullamore's town centre, down a long winding path beneath the cover of an ancient oak forest. But Charleville is not your typical hotel.
Welcome to Charleville Castle.
A closer look at the beautiful 200-year-old Gothic castle reveals a building in disrepair, and the guests staying at Charleville have the unique opportunity to be part of its restoration.
What we are is a building in progress of restoration. So the money goes towards Charleville Heritage Fund, which if you come and stay, you're not just staying in a gorgeous castle, but you're giving money to help save it. And then we start to tell you about our ghosts.
From its long slumber, and as she does so, the ghosts of past times are beginning to stir.
Many believe Charleville's ghosts span the centuries long before the castle was built. Some of these ghosts may date back to before Christianity came to Ireland, when the Druids, ancient Celtic priests, presided over the land.
The Druids would have been here first. Being in the oak forest, they worshipped in the open areas.
The oak tree was considered sacred to the Druids. Some say the Druid ceremonies performed among Charleville's oaks brought about magical powers. And hundreds of years later, guests claim these powers still remain within the castle's stone walls.
It was the winter solstice, which is the longest night of the year.
That night, one of Charleville's overnight guests says she witnessed the Druids' powers firsthand. The land surrounding Charleville Castle in Tullamore Island was once home to Druids. According to history books, these ancient Celtic priests lived and died hundreds of years ago. But one inexplicable event has guests and hotel owner Bridget Vance wondering if they ever really left Charleville Castle.
It started with her waking at 3 in the morning. And seeing a man walk across the room.
The room went cold.
And then there appeared a group. They weren't clear, they were semi-transparent. And they raised their hands up and down like this, gently, for a while, and then gradually they all just disappeared.
But not without leaving a message behind.
And then what we found out, according to spiritualists and whatnot, this is a blessing, because they wanted the area saved.
Today, Bridget Vance, with the support of her guests, is doing just that. She uses proceeds from the hotel to refurbish and preserve Charleville, one step at a time. Literally. The latest ongoing project is the restoration of one of the castle's grand staircases.
This is an important staircase that Francis Johnston, the architect, did, and he was known for his staircases. The woodwork here, you can kind of see the detail.
But there is much more to this staircase than exquisite craftsmanship.
It's very important because it was a scene of one of the tragedies in the house.
The tragedy in question occurred over 200 years ago. When a young girl and her family lived in Charleville Castle.
She was the daughter of the 3rd Earl and Countess, and her name was Harriet Hugh Adele.
Harriet lived a charmed life inside the castle walls. Her nanny supervised all her daily activities.
Harriet had been sent up to have her hands washed by her nanny. And that's 4 flights up the nursery. upon coming down, she decided, being a child, to start singing and sliding down the banister.
Harriet lost her balance and fell 4 stories to her death.
She was around 8 at the time. And she's one of our ghosts.
Harriet's ancestors left the castle at the turn of the century, and it lay empty for almost 50 years. Harriet was all but forgotten.
When the castle hadn't been lived in for all those years, and the man that had it before us was single and on his own and no children.
When Bridget Vance and her young children first moved into the castle 15 years ago, they didn't know about Harriet and her tragic story. But strange things started to happen, and they began to wonder if they were alone in the castle.
So when we came in, she started coming back. I think it's the children that bring her back in.
Whenever they would venture near the back stairs, a murky presence would appear. And while it was too late to change Harriet's fate, Bridget Vance believes that her ghost helped deter another such tragedy.
Our first experience was when we first moved here. My son was 3.5 and he went missing, and we were terrified.
The castle got fearsome drops. You can walk down there. I mean, it is an unfinished castle. And fearful that he might tumble down the drops there, they launched a search.
Hours passed, and with the castle in such disrepair, Bridget feared the worst. But she knows now someone was looking out for her son.
We found him at the bottom of the stairs. And he said, "Don't worry, Mommy." A little girl held my hand. We didn't know the story of Harriet, by the way, then.
Was it Harriet who had led the young boy to safety? Today, the family believes the strange phenomena were deliberate clues, meant to unlock the secret of her tragic past.
We were upstairs in our bedroom, sound asleep, 3 o'clock in the morning.
We both wake up, look at each other, say, "Did you hear that?" And what we both heard was la 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 la. And looked at each other and said, "Someone's gotten in." So we went out to the staircase, and there was no one.
Then, an ear-piercing scream that echoed through the entire castle.
I imagine what it was Harriet was singing, and then she fell and was screaming, going down.
But despite Charleville Forest Castle's eerie history and the ghostly goings-on there, locals say there is nothing to be afraid of.
People are still afraid of ghosts. But I think really that's the initial, because we don't understand. We're afraid of what we don't understand. But nothing to fear from lost souls.
Over 7,500 kilometers across the Atlantic, another hotel, another tragic death, and another ghost who won't let her story be forgotten.
Okay, so I'm gonna stop there. you guys already know. You guys already know how the story goes back in time and how the ghosts appear. Well, and that is what that is what Bill McCanion's ghost has to do too. Okay. So you know, the ghost has to be computerized. The ghost has to be computerized by people, and you know, like a ghost effect, or computerized by people, and so to create ghosts and stuff like that. Okay. So that is what Bill McCanion's ghost has to do in the TV show. Okay. And like I said, the story takes place back in 1888 in New York, Central, in New York Central. And also the ghost has to appear everywhere, and the story, like you saw on Haunted Hotels, has to show the real people, going back in time, okay? All right? So, anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed these stories. I'll be back later on this evening to do some more Ghost Train stories for you guys. And give this video a thumbs up. Give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you would like to my channel, and ring the bell for notifications. And I will see you guys later for more Ghost Train stories. And hopefully this will be on the Travel Channel also, okay? If you work for the Travel Channel, put it on there, okay? All right? So anyway, bye everybody. Bye.